Hello and welcome to an amazing podcast. This is Racer D.
And this is Modi, and we are going to be bringing you our first impressions of
Appare
Ranman.
Ranman.
Yeah, an anime series about a industrial era Japanese engineer boy who travels to America, builds a car, and races it across the country.
Yep. So basically, the story starts off. We get a quick cold open, showing the main character Appare, Kosomi, and Hototo. The three main. I'm gonna call them like the three main characters, or it has the whole multiple protagonist role. As we said before, it's a race series, so from what our first impressions are, it feels like it's going to go in the direction of similar to something like JoJo's Part 7, where the story is going to be, it feels like it's going to be told between the multiple parties involved in the race. And the main cast basically includes the industrial science boy, Appare, a prudent samurai named Kosomi, and a Native American Indian boy looking for revenge named Hototo. And I gotta say, I really enjoyed this show. I liked it a lot. This might be the show I watched this season. And so, pros and cons. Firstly, concept. I think it's a very interesting, awesome, cool concept of sort of a crazy race across like steampunk, late 1800s America. I also think character design wise, every character design in this is very strong. Like, really good designs in this. One thing in particular, design I really enjoyed was Appare's design. And everything down from color scheme to personality to even silhouette is on point. And I would definitely say this is probably one of the first really iconic designs I've seen this year. Second, definitely being the main character from Brand New Animal. And I would also say, I can't really say the animation is super spectacular. It feels very, it doesn't distract you. It doesn't it's not something you would look twice at, but I feel that based on what we see in the opening, which is really good by the way, it has definite room to grow and branch out into something really awesome. And art style is usually very, it's not, critiquing of like anime art style is like critiquing handwriting. Sometimes it's always weird critiquing anime art style sometimes, because a lot of them sort of like fall into the standard design tropes, or I wouldn't say tropes, but design philosophies. But I will say that this show follows the design philosophies and tropes of anime very well in a style I really like.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said. I like the show a lot too, and it's also it's definitely a show that I'm going to be watching weekly for this season.
Same.
And it's kind of cool because it's been a while since I've had a show that I liked that much right from the start. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and also it's weird, but I haven't actually seen any racing series before. This is the first racing series that I've seen, or not even just anime, but like anything, like comics or.
Oh yeah.
Really, I haven't really experienced any racing stories, and it's something that I've always known I would like, but I never really, just like had the time, I guess, to get into it. Like, I've always heard Initial D is pretty cool, although this is probably very different from Initial D.
Honestly, a lot of people jokingly compare it to the old Hanna-Barbera cartoon Wacky Races. And
oh, really?
it's very on point. That's a very good comparison.
Yeah. And for the thing that you were saying about the character design,
Mm.
I think it's interesting that you said like this is the best character design. Well, not it's interesting, but it's not a coincidence. I think that this and Brand New Animal have the best like main character designs that you've seen,
Mm.
because these series are not adaptations of anything. They're like
Yes.
both of those are like original anime, which means that it doesn't surprise me because I'm sure like
They have a
when
whole
you can make something.
department for character designs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they have the whole department for it, and like they, when you're making something, specifically for a certain medium, you can actually tailor it to really show the strengths of it in that medium. You know.
Yes.
But one thing I will say about the character design is, it's like it's good. It's good, but I just feel like, especially Appare's character design, and maybe Hototo's a little bit, but mainly Appare's, his character design is like, I feel like it stands out too much. Just like I feel like it should be toned down just a little. And I know
there's no such
probably
thing.
it's yeah, I knew that's what you would think. Yeah, like I know it's probably like it's also probably a thematic thing where like he's very different even in personality from most people, you know, in the world around him. So like it also helps to make him stand out in that way. But I feel like it's just a little too much. Like I feel like they should just tone it down a little. Like for example, Jialian,
Zhao
her
Jing.
like
Xiaolan
Zhao
Jing.
Jing, Xiaolan Jin, her character design also stands out, but it doesn't stand out like too much. I feel like she has like a right amount, because he stands out, but like he feels like he doesn't even fit in the world, you know,
Right.
like and I know, like I said, it's probably a thematic thing, but like still, it's like he feels like he just got plopped in from like a different series, you know.
Okay, you know what?
Like,
I agree with that. And one thing that we'll add on top of it, he does not look like any of his family. That's always
Yeah.
something I've always hated about a lot of anime, where the main character does not resemble his parents at all. That's
Yeah.
always driven me insane. And I know the reason why is because if the artist put that much time into designing his parents, they would need to have their own story. But since they kept them bland like that, they are no longer required to like flare them up. Because think about it, both not like animes where the characters look like their parents are usually important players, like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, I guess even Hunter x Hunter. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with this, we both know that it's just Dad, Kun, and Mom-chan, so there's no real point of them having any clear design resemblance.
Yeah,
You even
that's
see
true,
that
but
in,
also
like-
I feel like it wouldn't have been that hard. Like they wouldn't have to do anything special. They could have just given his dad red hair and his mom white hair, and there you go, you know.
Yeah. Or even like look at like My Hero Academia, like they do a really even like this is one thing I have to praise it for, because the parents aren't that super big into the characters' lives, but they still look like they have a strong like the characters look like their parents. And that's something I really always appreciate.
Yeah, true. I agree with that. But yeah, like I agree with you mostly about the character designs. They're really cool. But the main appeal of the series for me is pretty much the themes. Like these themes are like stuff that always get me hooked, no matter what it is. Like the theme of like exploration and like pushing, pushing the limits of humanity, like, you know, like One Piece and like Dr. Stone, that kind of stuff. So I like that a lot, and I also like the main character a lot, because I agree a lot with the way he thinks in general.
Mm-hmm.
So I like in general I like characters who not only like have big ambition, but like also have the ability to carry it out, you know. And he has that, which is what I really like about this. So like there's like a 0% chance that I will not continue watching this.
Amen. Also, I love how Appare is basically Senku if he took way too much ADHD medication.
That's so true. uh, yeah, and also not only him, but I also like Kosame. Like, well, at first I didn't like Kosame. Well,
Mm.
how do I say it? It's not that I didn't like him. At first, I didn't really think much of him.
Yes.
But then in episode 2, when he kind of like talked about how like he kind of is different in a way too, because
Mm.
he like wants to stick to the era. Not he doesn't want to stick to the era of samurai, but
Mm-hmm.
like he doesn't. He's kind of like stubborn about the world like moving forward, I guess, and leaving samurai behind. But like he still
Mm-hmm.
sticks to his beliefs. You
Yes.
know. So I like him too as a character. Character wise, I mean, all of these characters are just really good so far.
Another thing I really appreciate is how airtight the writing is in this too. Like
Yeah,
everything from like establishing character works. They did an excellent job of establishing each of the characters' traits, personality, wants, and goals. They did a great job of establishing a good end game, and all around really great. Like you see a lot of these shows, and you see a lot in like mangas or animes. No, mangas usually created by one person, but they usually have this feel of just hashing things out as they go. You
Yeah.
don't get that with this. This
I feel like
definitely
that's yeah, and I feel like that's another thing. That's another aspect of it. That's a result of it being an original anime and not being an adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lot of the time when anime is like adapted, it's adapted off of, you know, a light novel or like a manga or a visual novel or something.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time it's manga, and when it's manga, it seems to me that most manga that are like serialized in like, you know, magazines, they're not this isn't always the case, but a lot of the time they're not necessarily meant. The way the stories are structured, they don't usually have an end in mind. They're kind of just structured in a way to like just keep going and being interesting, you know, on a weekly basis.
Mm-hmm.
So if you do that, those are interesting by themselves, but like also when you do that, you kind of when you go into making an anime with like a set specific amount of episodes in mind, like 12 episodes or 24, I don't know how many this is going to be. When you go into it with that, like, you know, okay, I have to and I can make a story, like a self-contained story within that. It's kind of like writing a novel or like even like a film, right? Like you're like, okay, I have to make a self-contained story. And I feel like because of that, that's how you can get like a lot of these good writing points that some other adaptations don't really have, you know.
Yes. Yes.
And also PA Works, I feel like they generally tend to do a good job of that, like as a studio, like in general. Like they did one of my favorite series, which is Shirobako. I think I've told you about it. It's the series about the series about the people who make like anime, like the anime studio. It's one of the few series that I've seen more than once, just because like, you know, it's that good to me. So yeah, I think in general they also just themselves, they do a good job with that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Any cons?
I won't say this is a perfect show, but I think going back to how airtight the writing is, I think it's still a little too early to point out cons. Like,
Yeah.
I will say that, like I said before, this is a show I'm definitely going to be watching weekly. This is a show I definitely think I'm going to really enjoy, and I think this is probably the best show I've seen this season so far. Maybe this is probably the best new show I've seen this season.
Yeah, same. Although that's not saying much for me because I haven't really looked into many of the shows this season except for like I think Brand New Animal is the only one. Um, but
Oh,
yeah,
Tower of God.
Sorry.
Tower of God too.
Oh, Tower of God. Yeah, but for me, this is I'm more interested in this than I am in Tower of God. Honestly.
Also, I remember, I don't know if I mentioned this before, but you can always tell a show written by a person trying to be a writer versus a show written by a writer. The first episode of Tower of God and the first episode of this shows that difference so apparently.
How?
Because everything is either, with the first episode of Tower, with this, everything happens for a distinct reason that builds onto the show, and everything that happens has a direct cause and effect relationship.
Oh.
Which, on top of also establishing the key tenets of a character, which are traits, wants, needs, and goals.
Yeah.
Tower of God didn't really do that as well. Like, a lot of the time with the first episode, it went for an effect without a clearly defined or well-defined cause. So, like, people just appearing out of nowhere, or the main character receiving things because the plot needs to move forward.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So, for example, we need to know that Appare is an eccentric inventor, so we get flashbacks to all the crazy things he's invented. We need to get them to America, so we have them fleeing the authorities because of something we see Appare do as a result of his personality or his character traits.
I wonder, now that I think about it, I wonder if the fact that he's Japanese is going to play a bigger role in the series. Because, like, when I think about what the series is about, I don't see any reason that he necessarily would have had to be Japanese. You know?
He
like,
needed to be Japanese because it was a Japanese property.
Is that really it? Is that really why you think it would? Because there have been plenty of series that just haven't taken place in Japan, like original anime that just, you know, like 24 days or something, or was it 12 days, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
There are plenty of series that just don't take place in Japan.
I want to say no, because if they were going to go the racial aspect of it, they would have done it in a different. They would have built the world in a much different way. On top of that, it's a series about racers from multiple different countries coming together for a big race, and it would be really weird if the main character wasn't Japanese.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's true. That's true. Yeah. But yeah, I like this series a lot. I don't really have any cons except for the character design thing. Like I said, it's like a minor thing, but yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit too much.
Subtlety's a sin, Modi.
Huh?
Subtlety's a sin, Modi.
I guess. I mean, yeah, but like I said, like yeah, it doesn't. It's not subtle yet, but like it could be a little more subtle, just like a little more. But
shaking my head.
I'm excited like to see what's gonna happen with the rest of the show. Do you think this is gonna be like a shorter, like do you think it's gonna be a 12 or a 24 episode series?
I feel it's going to be a 24 episode series because...
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we're in there have been 3 episodes so far, and we've barely been introduced to all the characters.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. Do you think it's going to be the scenario where, like, people drop off as they get... as the race goes on, or everyone's going to make it across and one person's going to win? You see what I'm saying?
See, that's a hard call for me because characters dropping off is better thematically, but the problem with that is if they start killing characters off, if they don't do it right, I'm going to feel really bad when a character I like dies. And based on what we've seen already, I really like the way each of the characters look in this design, so I'm gonna feel bad for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually interesting because so far I can't really tell who would be the villain. Have you seen, how many have you seen? Because I've only seen episodes 1 and 2.
1, 2.
Okay. Yeah, so far I can't tell who's going to be the villain here because it seems like even the rival racing group, the guy seems cool. Like they all just seem like cool people. So I don't know who um if I'm thinking about the theme of the story, the villain would have to be someone like, I feel like the villain would have to be someone outside of the race because anyone who's racing would kind of be like in line, like in terms of like ideology with the main character, right?
Yes, I
So,
would say that the villain would definitely have to be the person Hototo is looking for who wiped out his village.
oh, okay. Okay, wait a minute. Are you sure you only saw the first 2 episodes? Because
Yeah.
I don't. Did he say something about someone wiping out his village?
Did it? Hold on.
Maybe I missed it then because I just remember him saying like I'm looking for someone and that's all. I didn't even know he was looking for revenge.
Oh no, because I looked up the Wikipedia page and I saw that. Okay, there we go.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's
Okay,
like
so he's
spoilers.
looking. So Hototo is looking for revenge from someone who wiped out his village, pretty
Yep.
much. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That probably is what the villain of the series would be.
Mm-hmm.
You know what would be cool if after this series they did like I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but I'm already thinking about sequels. It would be cool if like after this they did a sequel where like okay now he builds a plane and they fly it across the world, and then after that they do a sequel where like his grandchild
He's in a
competes in the
space
Cold
race
War
with
to get to the
Senku.
moon. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, see, that would, if they went the anime equivalent of Around the World in 80 Days, that would be really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it would. That would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this is a cool idea too.
Mm-hmm.
I like how it's like it's unique, but also like it's it's one of those ideas that's unique, but it's also not too out there. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just a regular. It's like a race across the country, but they added enough like spice to it to make it interesting. I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah. But and also, last thing I'll say I guess is now I'm excited to get to JoJo Part 7 at some point later because if this is what JoJo Part 7, if this is like the premise of JoJo Part 7, that should be really fun.
JoJo's Part 7 is literally this, written by Araki.
Oh my god, that's actually amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Is Part 7 the one with Jolene?
That's Part 6.
Okay, all right, got you.
Part 7
All
is
right.
Jonathan.
Okay. Oh wait, Jonathan? Oh yeah, because you told me it like resets, right?
Yeah.
Kind of. Okay. Oh, that's cool. You know, I know we're going off topic, but let me just say I'm glad that happens because Joseph is my favorite JoJo, so I like how he literally appears in part 2 and part 3 and now
Oh, no.
and part oh, no.
Jonathan. Joseph's granddad. So the main character from Part 1.
Okay, so part 7 is Jonathan.
Yeah. Or Johnny in this
Oh.
case.
Oh, okay. Oh well. All right. Anyway, so yeah. So do you have anything else you want to say?
Nope. I'm good. How would you rate it?
Oh, rating. That's funny because I watched the first 2 episodes last week and I had thought about it then. I was like, okay, this is a 9. Now after a week has passed, I'm like, it's good, but I would just give it an 8. And that makes me realize maybe I should like from now on, whenever I watch something, like I should wait a week before actually rating it. Or like if for example I watch something and I think like, oh my god, this is a 10, I should probably actually rate it a 9 because it's probably like excitement.
Right.
Anyway, long-winded way of saying I would give it an 8. It's good, and I feel like it has a potential to reach 9 level. Maybe I would be surprised if it reached 10, but like maybe I don't know.
I'll do you one better and give it an 8.5 with the potential to become a 9.5.
All right, cool. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me.
Yep.
But yeah, all right. So that's been our first impressions of Appare Ranman. Thank you for watching, and see you next week.
Take it easy and have a good one. Bye.